Welcome to Deeply Disturbing Things,
the podcast.
I'm Macy.
And I'm Naomi.
And here is
Sarah. Oh. I guess Sarah can say her own name.
And we are three anxious counselors who like to talk about deeply disturbing things.
If you believe normal is boring, knowledge is power, and laughter is the best medicine, this is the podcast for you. Cheers.
Tink. Tink.
And I get to go first today, which is the best.
I don't think I've ever actually looked at this picture behind us until this moment.
Let me tell you about that.
Please do.
My old roller derby teammate and friend Jackknife painted that for an art fundraiser we did for the roller derby league, and some of the artwork just ended up staying in my possession. And when Stella was using this room and we were fixing it up for her, I thought, wow, this is a perfect nursery painting.
I don't think I would. Okay.
So it's there.
I mean, is it a bunny?
Yeah.
Is it like from Donnie
bunny.
Darko? Is that a wiener?
No, it's a butt.
No, on the front.
It's a belly button.
An Audi?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's art. It's open for interpretation.
Is he smoking a cigarette?
He might be smoking.
I mean,
I don't know.
It's a great nursery picture.
I don't know. It was in my basement. I brought it up, put it on the wall. The wall needed something.
I'm all
It was a
for
bunny.
this.
Yeah.
It seemed nursery-like.
It's smoking rabbit with an Audi and a big butt.
Maybe I'll ask her.
What's her take on it?
Doing. Yeah. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm so ready. You get to
Are
go
you
first.
ready for the true story of the first Thanksgiving?
Ooh, good topic.
Because Thanksgiving is next week.
Right.
Yeah.
So for this topic, I went for only native created sources.
Mm-hmm.
So I got information from Indian Country Today, Potawatomi.org, Mashpee TV, and there was another one, I think, but I guess I didn't write it down. So this is content created by Indigenous people because I think it's important to get information from those sources. So this is the true story of the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag people. This year is the 401st anniversary of the first Thanksgiving.
Really?
Which was in 1621. The history that school children learn is untrue.
Wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember bits and pieces, and it
What
was.
did you learn?
I mean, something about the Mayflower was in there, probably in that same lesson, and something about a long table with lots of foods and horns filled with foods or baskets that look like horns. Right. And that is literally all I remember of what was taught to me.
Well, get ready.
They painted it.
I did my hand. I did my hand like a turkey.
Oh, I love the turkey hands. I'm gonna have Stella do one of this. One thing that many people may not realize, myself included, is that the Wampanoag people were the ones involved in the original national holiday. Another thing many people may not realize is they've been around for over 1,200 years and are still around today. The real story of the first Thanksgiving has to do with sickness, death, and cultural genocide. This doesn't necessarily vibe with like that festive cornucopia.
Get together and share about things that you're
meal.
grateful for, because it's a hard time to be a pioneer.
Do you have like where everybody has to go around the table and say what you're grateful for? Because I hate that.
I have a family that does not partake. We just eat the food. And my grandpa's one
but
rule,
I've been at ones.
You had to have cooked corn on the table. That
Cooked corn.
Well,
how do you eat raw corn?
I mean, that was
popcorn.
I didn't mean
Popcorn. It's cooked corn, isn't it?
it just wouldn't be a full Thanksgiving meal if there wasn't corn like off the cob for grandpa. That was like the only like set thing that had to be there.
Sure.
And you have to have cranberries in a can, not the canned. You need the jellied.
So do you open it up and it's like in that
Makes that noise.
column shape, and do you just like leave it in the column?
No.
shape?
You let it out, and then you put it sideways, and then you slice it,
Oh.
and then you lay it out like an accordion, it out so people can take a slice of it on their
God help us
turkey.
all.
I have a quick question.
I make fresh cranberry sauce.
Why
It's
were-
pretty dope.
Why were you angry about going and saying what you were thankful for?
I just don't like being on the
Good
spot with
question.
that.
I didn't even
I think
question
the year that occurred,
I hated it.
I hated it. The year that occurred, I was
Good
not
counselor
in a
ear,
good
Sarah.
place. And I was like, what am I gonna say? If I say the real thing, nobody wants to fucking hear that. So I guess I'm gonna lie. And then like, what's the point of that?
Just make up some
It's superficial thing. I'm grateful for being here with you all today.
It's kind of like
Yeah.
when I was talking about the plane, like, so before planes take off and before they land, I have a little thing I say in my head that's completely meaningless. It changes nothing, or I just say the list of the people that I love before I might die.
That sounds to me like a superstition, Macy. That
Is
you
it?
said you didn't have any last
I
time,
mean,
but apparently you
apparently I do. That's probably all layered in there. Just lots of superstition.
It was superstition.
Something that was like a huge light bulb for me when I was researching this is that when we learn about US history, when does it start? With the arrival of the Europeans.
Right.
That's when it starts.
Right. And being Pacific Northwest.
But Native
you get-
Indigenous people were here long before that and have a rich
Right.
history in this country. And so that just for me was like, wow, that is how deep
Mhm.
white supremacy runs.
Yeah, I
in
think
this
Columbus was the first, Columbus
Mm.
discovering the Americas.
It's like you crack open the book, European settlers, and like there was nothing before that. I was like, oh my God.
The land was empty and
Crazy.
ripe for the taking.
Yeah, it's rich with resources. Transatlantic slave traders, the Europeans, captured and kidnapped Native peoples. I also was not aware of that the Native people were part of the transatlantic slave traders. I had just thought it was African Americans. So that was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so since these were the very earliest diplomats representing the European nations among the Native people, like things didn't start off on a good vibe, on a good foot. 7 years before the Pilgrims landed in North America, the man history remembers as Squanto, not his Indian name, was kidnapped and taken to London where he was enslaved. He was taken in 1614. And when he left, his homeland was thriving, a rich culture. While he was away, he learned English. He ended up escaping and he made his way back to his homeland. But when he got there, he realized that while he'd been away, tragedy struck. So it was completely different when he got back. Between 1616 and 1619 was a period of time that the natives call the Great Dying. I don't remember learning about any of this in school.
No, they taught about cowboys more than they taught about.
And homesteading.
Yeah.
This was the deadliest thing to ever happen to the Wampanoag people. A lethal sickness killed over 90% of the population. So almost everybody. Where did the sickness come from?
White Europeans bringing
Those
it.
dirty white Europeans.
Well, and they're traveling in on boats and ships and bringing sicknesses and illnesses and rats and plagues. And
The Europeans thought bathing was considered unhealthy and even dangerous.
what?
So they avoided it at all costs.
Figures.
Powder.
Figures. Powder me.
Rose scented oil over the sweat
their butt
and
sweat.
stank. Louis XIV of France was said to have taken how many baths in his lifetime? What's your guess? Lifetime.
Lifetime? 12.
Say 10.
Trace
Wow.
in
Trace.
ASL. 3 baths in his lifetime. So microbes.
Does that, so that's also not a shower either. That didn't exist, right?
Well, they really thought like taking off all your clothes was dangerous. Like bad things
Being
could get at
vulnerable.
you. Yeah. Microbes carried by unwashed visitors brought disease to North America.
How do they get under their foldy holds?
Well, they had dirty foldy holds
It's a slippery foldy hold.
Did they take like a
or
rag?
jammed up.
Yeah, are they?
What does he consider a bath? Is that like a wipe down or is it a full submersion? Like he probably cleaned up a little, you'd hope, like a little bit.
I mean, did they use toilet
Maybe.
paper?
They didn't have toilet paper back then.
How does butt just not rot off?
I don't know.
I need to know. We need a case study.
I read
Pronto.
a book on, this is total tangent, but I read a book on like hygiene during the Victorian era, and it was a dirty, filthy, nasty time, let me tell you. No toilet, plumbing, no baths, no understanding that you need to wash the junk.
That would be like if I was
and
a,
that was 200 years after,
Right.
50 years, something years after this.
if I was a rapper during that time, I'd want my name to be Dirty Filthy Nasty.
That's a good.
And then your sidekick could be junk.
Are you junk?
I'll be junk.
All right.
Among the diseases introduced,
Podcast. Dirty
Listen.
Filthy Nasty Junk.
listen to these
Yep.
this list of diseases
All right.
that were introduced to the Native American population. Smallpox, bubonic plague,
These are pretty big.
chickenpox, cholera, influenza, the common cold, diphtheria, malaria, measles, scarlet fever, and sexually transmitted illnesses, typhoid, typhus, tuberculosis, leptospirosis, which I'm not sure what that is, yellow fever, and pertussis. So that's quite a list.
It's quite a list. A lot of them have a lot to do with shitting yourself profusely, which sounds horrible.
So Squanto came home and he had left a thriving, rich culture, and he found almost all of his people had been wiped out, from tens of thousands when he left to just, I think that I read they had just a few hundred warriors left.
Did you ever see Spirit, the horse cartoon?
Please don't talk about that because I sobbed uncontrollably.
I was gonna say
And my family ridiculed
cried.
me to no end.
I cried so much. It's but that okay, I can't.
I'm pretty sure I had the DVD and just until last year when I, out of shame, donated it to charity because I had been ridiculed.
Have you not seen it?
No.
It's
Oh.
a horse cartoon.
It's a horse horror show. It'll get at your heartstrings. It'll make you
Black
cry.
Beauty.
So I
Oh,
went and
man.
watched this.
Oh, man, brutal.
I was in an emotionally vulnerable state, which may have led to me loving it so much, or maybe it's just that good.
I cried.
Macy loved it too, but Macy's a horse person. So I don't know. But I was like,
I'm
oh my
getting so
God, this
many
is the
labels
best.
this podcast.
The best movie. And I told my sister and her husband, I'm like, we have to watch this movie. It was
I saw it
so
in
emotionally
theaters.
touching. And I made them sit down in my house and watch this. And they were like, are you fucking kidding me?
The music in
A,
it,
a
the
horse cartoon, like you're sobbing with a talking
no,
horse.
it's so good.
And I was like, oh, I guess, I mean, I let them get to me. I did.
He doesn't talk. He doesn't talk, but he makes his little whinnies,
Yeah,
and you
whinnies.
can understand him without the
You
words.
understand? It's like Scooby-Doo.
Wait, how did you get here?
I don't,
Okay,
let's go back. We gotta
when
think about it.
he comes back and it's like homeland of all the wild horses,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just
it's
so
devastating.
devastatingly changed, and they're gone, and it's just this heart-wrenching.
No, I
moment.
was in the theater, tears
That's
down
how we
my
got here.
face.
I was in the theater too.
Okay. Maybe we're in the theater at the same time. But we
Maybe.
didn't know each other.
Separate scenes.
I watched it at the Garland.
Oh, I
Oh, you watched first release.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. And then I owned it on VHS.
Okay, this part's gonna piss you off if you're not already pissed off. The colonists, the dirty, dirty unmarked
Dirty.
colonists,
Filthy ass colonists.
they interpreted the disappearance of the Native American population as part of a divine plan to make way for their Puritan settlements.
Of course they did, you
Here's this quote.
blankety blanks.
Listen to this quote. Strangely, they have deceased by the hand of God And it hath generally been observed that where the English come to settle, a divine hand makes way for them.
Divine stank.
In short time after the hand of God fell heavily upon them with such a mortal stroke that they died on heaps as they lay in their houses. For a place where many inhabited, there hath been but one left alive to tell what became of the rest, and the bones and skulls upon the several places of their habitations made such a spectacle after my coming into these parts, unquote. So it was interpreted by the colonists that God had cleared the way for them. So basically, this is a sign that they are meant to be here. Oh, disgusting. So that is talking about these piles of bones and skulls. It's because the illness spread so quickly and so many people died that they weren't unable to bury their own dead. And the bodies had to lay above ground,
which probably caused
eventually turned to skeletons.
Right.
So it's just horrific.
Well, and like there wasn't enough research or science around, like they didn't understand what was happening. But of course, to put it to my life is more important than your life is very
like
European.
Why does it have to be a cleared the way?
It's the whole colonization thing of like, well, we're here for a reason and you're not.
I think it's the whole dehumanizing thing, so you don't have to feel guilty about, it's like how they called them savages also,
Right.
that dehumanizing, because then you don't have to feel guilty about killing them and taking their land because they're not people. They're not the same equal value.
Which many entities still use today in different formats in military, government, politics.
Yeah. When I was in elementary school. We made pilgrim hats out of black construction paper.
Oh.
Like some of us would be pilgrims and
Sounds
some
like
of
it'd
us
be
would
hard
be
to do
the
that.
Indians, and we would like glue cheap ass colored feathers on like some like headdress thing, and we'd like
Sounds not appropriate.
it was 70s. I'm not making excuses, but I mean but it was like played out like, oh, a big celebration. Right. Everybody loves each other. Like, oh,
you just made me think of
welcoming.
Right, like the Addams family when Wednesday Addams does the.
I think that one of the best moments.
I haven't seen it yet.
In film.
No,
the movie with Christina Ricci. Well, not the original.
Or not original, but where because she's at the summer camp.
So
it's
good.
badass.
Yeah,
it's badass.
Watch the new one now too.
Me Too comes out next.
Does it?
Yeah.
Ooh,
I'm all in.
We need to watch.
Yeah.
We need to do movie night together again sometime.
I'm ready. Okay. Thanksgiving was made an official U.S. holiday in 1863 during the Civil War. President Abraham Lincoln
trying to get the morale up.
Yeah, because listen to this. He had established the holiday as a way to improve relations, not only between the North and the South, but also between U.S. and tribal nations. Because just a year prior, another thing I never was taught, a mass execution had taken place of Dakota tribal members. Corrupt federal agents kept the Dakota Sioux from receiving food and provisions. Finally, when they were at the brink of death from starvation, they fought back, which resulted in the Dakota War of 1862. In the end, President Lincoln ordered 38 Dakota men to die from hanging. President Lincoln, who is revered, and he felt that Thanksgiving opportunity to like squash that beef,
Let's be thankful for where we are.
Let's just, no hard feelings. We'll have Thanksgiving.
That's like if I punched you in the face right now and just said, no hard feelings. Would it work?
No hard feelings.
You would punch me
We're
back.
going to have cooked corn. It's all good.
Don't worry. It's on the table.
Yeah.
She'd beat my ass.
Just like
The hidden rage under it's like right there.
I have a lot of hidden rage.
just your reflex, just punch back.
I would
No
be
question.
on the floor. This room has a lot of emotional triggers for her too. It'd be like your superpower.
It does. And I still want to know who Lloyd is. Lloyd is carved into that door, the name Lloyd.
That is terrifying and I don't like
Who
it
is
at all.
Lloyd?
Tell me that.
Who is Lloyd?
Where?
It's down there somewhere. You have to look at like sideways in the light to see it.
How long have you lived here again?
Since 1996.
Get out here, Lloyd. Why does he have to be dead? It might have just been someone that lived in here and moved.
They all die.
I'll show you a picture later that we found under the stairs of
Maybe.
my call Lloyd.
Oh yeah, a boot.
All right.
Oh, is the boot Lloyd's?
No, the boot's something else. Okay. So Squanto, tried without success to teach the Pilgrims to bathe because the Pilgrims smelled bad to the Indians.
I mean, I get that. Like, you stinky. Don't sit next to me. I'd be scooting your chair away. Oh wait, Sarah's over there. I mean, you don't smell, Sarah.
Like hummus.
For
Like hummus.
3 years.
Hummus breath. Drink the wine, it helps.
For 3 years after the Pilgrims landed, English and French fishermen transmitted diseases to tribes as they came ashore to find fresh water, firewood, and capture Native Americans for slave trade. Within 3 years, the plague had wiped out almost all of the native inhabitants of coastal New England. Native societies were fucking devastated. I mean, 90%, like that's...
Yeah.
Who's left? Terrible.
10%.
Good math, Macy.
Thanks. I take it when I can.
Hopefully the real strong ones.
And those who did survive left their communities to join others, and then they would bring the illnesses along with them. So that led to it. Throughout history, religion has served as a means of justification. And for the English separatists, that was the same thing. They believed that this widespread death and devastation due to disease was divine providence and that God willed them to take over the land.
I now say Gesundheit anytime someone sneezes.
So there's a book that I want to read that I haven't yet, that was referenced a lot in my research called Lies We Were Told.
Yes.
And so a lot of this information comes from quotes from that book. One of is, if Indian culture had not been devastated by the physical and psychological assaults it had suffered, colonization might not have proceeded at all. So let's talk about Squanto as he is known in history. His real name was Tisquantum. So there's more than the story. He's known, what we were taught, like, oh, he taught the Pilgrims how to grow crops. He helped them, take advantage of all the resources. 6 years before the Mayflower arrived, a slave trader captured Squanto, as I mentioned. He eventually escaped and returned to North America in 1619. So he learned English while he was away. And he traveled all around. So he got worldly knowledge. He saw different governments and different things happening. Kind of reminded me of Chief Gary in a way.
Yeah, sounds
kind of put in the middle that way.
Yeah, because when he said when he escaped back, it's very similar of they make it sound like, oh, this cushy, he got learned while he was gone. Well, anytime you have to say they escape back home, it's not that great.
Right. So when he came back, he was the only survivor of his village because his fellow tribesmen had been killed by all this sickness and disease and stinky asses. So where Tisquantum's village once thrived, the Pilgrims established Plymouth Plantation right there.
I've been there. My cousin works there.
Do they talk about this?
Not to this extent.
Oh,
definitely.
Fuck me.
You mean not to Big T Truth?
Not to the truth at all. They definitely make it more like, oh, look at these. They're more focused on the settlements and how the living is within the settlers, and they do have a section where the natives speak about kind of their culture, but they don't talk about just
what actually happened.
Well, we're talking about it.
Yeah, get it out there.
Say the thing.
During this time, the Wampanoag lost most of its people, but a nearby enemy tribe and I might be pronouncing this wrong, and I apologize, the Narragansett did not. So Wampanoag leader Massasoit saw the Pilgrims as possible allies, so kind of misjudging it, as we've kind of seen through history, where, you know, you're maybe having an alliance or some kind of business deal, and then getting fucked over later. We see that over and over.
It happens. Yeah.
So Wampanoag leader Massasoit thought maybe the Pilgrims could be allies against this enemy tribe, because the Wampanoag were decimated and their enemies had not been. So because Squanto could speak English, Massasoit used him as a translator, though he didn't really trust Tisquantum and kind of held him as prisoner. Rather than continue this life of servitude, not servitude.
I hate, my brain took me a second too. Am I right? Or
Tisquantum decided he would become a key resource to the Pilgrims and teach them how to survive. So it was a maneuver on his part.
Which I could imagine on some level that, like, you want to survive and you want your people to survive. And if these people are overtaking things, like, how can I make the best of a shitty situation and try to help my people? And especially because they probably do have a ton of resources that could help my people, you know.
And the leader, Massasoit, had kind of set the stage by already reaching out to the Pilgrims to do an allyship. So he's kind of just building on that. So the Wampanoag and the Pilgrims made a treaty that established an understanding that the tribe would look out for the Pilgrims against their enemies, this other rival tribe, and vice versa. So this brings us to the first Thanksgiving.
U.S. treaties with any Native American
they don't
folks
hold their water.
Do well.
The Pilgrims celebrated their first successful harvest in 1621 by shooting their guns into the air, poo, 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 which caused Massasoit, the leader of the Wampanoag people, to bring warriors and prepare for battle. So he thought that, you know, this was a sign of like, okay, we're getting ready to fight.
That's like if a gunshot went off here in Brown's Edition, like, it's not a party. It's not a party.
I'm not running.
You're not running out there, but someone's running out.
I'm not running that way. I'm like, okay, locking the doors. I always check the time because I'm always like imagining I'm gonna have to make a report. Like, I heard this many gunshots at this time.
That's very specific. I don't do
so
that.
They got there. There's no battle.
Maybe I need to do that. I don't hear how many gunshots do you hear?
I hear them on average all the fucking time.
Weekly, monthly, daily?
Like monthly.
Monthly gunshots?
Yeah. It's rough on the west side. So they got there,
funny picture
but there was no battle. So they worked together to prepare a feast because the Pilgrims were already like preparing this big celebration. So that's like the actual story of it. This Thanksgiving Day is a time to grieve for many Native Americans, and many natives gather today near Plymouth Rock every year and remember the losses through a national day of mourning. And this event began in 1970 when the Commonwealth of Massachusetts invited Wamsutta James to address the public on behalf of the Wampanoag people. However, once the organizers learned that he was going to talk about death and broken promises in the hand of the settlers, colonial powers, and the US, he got uninvited.
I hate it when that happens.
But what he was going to talk about was, quote, "The action by Massasoit was perhaps our biggest mistake. We, the Wampanoag, welcomed you, the white man, with open arms, little knowing that it was the beginning of our end."
Trust no one.
Question everything. But it's not the nature of the people, and, you know, living for thousands of years on,
right,
permeated or whatever.
well, yeah,
You don't have that knowledge, like, okay, these are evil motherfuckers and we need to watch our back.
well, that
was learned in time, but
and that happens in nature everywhere. Like, we just go and spoil untouched beauties and then they learn to hate us.
In summary, Native Americans, Europeans, and tons of other cultures across the world and hold festivals and special meals in gratitude for bountiful harvest in the fall. So that's occurred like all over the world across time. It's a time for families to come together and reflect. I watched a video of Wampanoag youth from 4 years ago sharing their thoughts on Thanksgiving, and their responses were really varied. Some were angry, sad, saying Thanksgiving is a day of mourning, feeling resentment. Some say that getting together with loved ones and showing appreciation, for bounties and gifts is fine. And that said they celebrate and feel gratitude on that day too. They said they're down with eating turkey and having a day off. But what really everybody's agreeing with for the most part that I looked into is the problem is this false narrative that has been taught and is still being perpetuated that really perpetuates colonialism and ignores all 400 plus years of atrocities against First Nations people. Like, that's really the problem.
Right. And being able to address like our own, like, I say our own, but white guilt, white privilege that comes along with that too, of being able to go and just meet with your family and have it be about that. Like, that's a privilege within itself to not have those things to think about. So maybe building awareness and learning about the history so you can be less ignorant about why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Maybe make a statement that honors,
that's what I was thinking. Like,
history.
Like, why not just like, and in memory of the lives lost, like, it's like
this is how we got here today. Like,
take a few moments to acknowledge.
Like, you come over for Passover dinner.
Right. I love it.
So, that's the story of the escape from slavery for the Jews. And so while it's celebration, we spill wine to acknowledge.
Force them out for the homies.
Well,
yeah, that's what you do. You spill out 10 drops to acknowledge that, like, there was the plagues that were released that enabled the Jews to go free. So you're tempering it, you're balancing it.
And I'm not a strongly religious person any real direction, but it is so nice to learn the histories and just, again, acknowledging and appreciating the cultures and contexts that go with it.
So that is the true story of the first Thanksgiving. I learned so much. And
that's
I hope
great.
that, our platform can spread that big T truth.
Big T truth. Are we going to thruple up on these drinks?
Oh, do you want me to go again?
Oh,
I'll be the runner.
Oh my gosh.
You bring it up here?
I didn't
actually. You may need 3 little glasses too. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I feel weird asking Sarah to do so.
I didn't ask. I just said
this
it.
This is so like not me. I do fucking everything, so this is like weird. It's just outside of my.
Normally, I would say that, and Naomi would go run downstairs.
Yeah, I want to be the runner.
Go. Do you really?
You're closer.
The big truth comes out.
Big T truth coming right at you.
If I was on that side, though, honestly, I would have. And also, it's our podcast. I feel like I should stay.
Well, this is actually what's nice about it is like normally one of us has to go and then it's one of us entertaining the open air. So we actually get to sit and to talk shit with just drink wine.
All right, cheers.
It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
No, we need to do a roller skating. Oh, it's too cold. We can
go indoor.
We could do a dance skate thing.
I've been wanting to actually hit adult night at Pattison sometime.
Can we do that?
Yeah, it's just really terrible hours.
Is it?
It's like late at night on a Sunday and Wednesday. It's like it never works out for me.
I can maybe do like a Wednesday. I mean, Sunday might work too. I don't know.
I'd rather do a Wednesday.
I could do either.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
We talked a lot of shit about you. No, we didn't start without you, but we talked shit.
Mm-mm.
Okay, forget it.
We didn't really.
She edits the podcast. She'll find out.
Right. I'm gonna go back and listen.
I'm up next.
I'm excited.
All right.
Tell me a
Do
story.
we want to split this up?
Yeah. Let's
I'm
thruple this.
driving today.
Let's thruple this.
This
Why not?
fun thing about having a thruple with Sarah is that we alternate driving now, and I didn't drive this time, which means I can have slightly more wine.
That's true.
Yes, I mean Sarah does too. She's good.
I'll be
She's fine. She's fine.
All right, what do you got for us?
All right. I can't chug things, by the way. I can't like take more than one gulp at a time. Okay. Gracias. Here we go.
Sure,
Okay,
Sarah,
I'm ready. Thank you.
I am going to talk. Are you excited?
Yes. I love going first because then I can just chill and listen.
All right. I am going to talk about the Andromeda Galaxy.
I love space shit.
I know. Do you know anything about the Andromeda Galaxy?
Nothing like in detail. Do tell.
Okay. So I'm going to tell, and then you're going to be horrified. Just you wait. Here we go.
Wait. Oh, I can take my glasses off now because I don't have to read anything.
So I'm going to skip some of the like the science is here, but I don't want to lose people on this. So with me struggling through after a can of wine. Okay. So it is though about 152,000 light years away. That's or from Earth, it's about 2.5 million light years away from Earth. It's the largest galaxy to the Milky Way. So it's Andromeda is like the largest
like our
next to the
neighbor.
Milky Way. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's close to the Milky
It's our
Way.
galaxy neighbor.
Right. The name stems from the area of the Earth's sky in which it appears, the constellation of Andromeda, which itself is named after the princess who was the wife of Perseus in Greek mythology.
Okay.
That's where it came from. So it's a big mass, this galaxy. It's the same order of magnitude as the Milky Way, so about 1 trillion solar masses wide. Again, don't expect you to understand that, me neither. The mass of either galaxy is difficult to estimate, but it's long thought that Andromeda Galaxy is more massive than the Milky Way by a margin, like 25 to 50% even. And it's large, and it's next to
It's large
us.
and in charge.
It's large, and it's next to us. And it's actually really pretty. Here, I'll show you that. That's the Andromeda Galaxy. You want to see?
Beauteous.
Very pretty. Okay. So here's the kicker. In 4 to 5 billion years, the Milky Way and the Andromeda galaxies are expected to collide. We've done the sciences on this, and they will collide.
This is why I
talk about
can't go to
this.
planetarium shows.
I mean,
Or
4 to 5 billion.
billion. Okay.
So like the nice thing is like we can pop out a few generations along the road and should be fine.
I
If we
leave
survive-
planetarium shows and I lay in bed like this, waiting to die.
You're gonna not like this at all, because once I was reading it, it was just like the level of detail of what they know is going to happen. It's like a little terrifying.
Can I just say one quick thing
Please
about
jump
just
in.
the disturbing thing?
Yes.
I'm okay if I die in like a space like black hole situation, because I feel like then everyone just gets taken out all at once quickly.
Black
all my loved
hole?
ones.
Listen to our spaghettification episode.
Spaghettification.
I'm okay with that. I really am. And you're not even gonna know if it hits you hit or anything. It's just like
If you don't know and it just happens, that's better. But if the
Instantaneous.
government's like, all right, in 3 days, we're all dead, like, fuck
Okay.
that.
There's a semi part 2, but this is the part 1. So if we make it that long, which spoiler, we won't.
I don't like thinking about a time when I don't exist and I'm not relevant.
I know this is literally
What's my legacy?
this is why it's fun to go last, because this isn't actually an extensively long topic, but our anxiety is going to fill the space.
No, I've already told the kids, who's going to remember me?
I'll remember you.
your patrons.
Our patrons will remember us. Thank you. Okay. So this is actually the Andromeda Galaxy you can actually see with naked eye from Earth. So it's actually one of the few that you can actually see without a telescope.
Sweet.
Even with moderate light pollution areas too. So like it's big and you can see it.
Oh, I wish Skylar was here. He knows, he's like space junkie.
Is he?
He does, yeah.
Does he? Does it
look at space stuff?
Space stuff?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It works.
Okay, so there's a lot of sciencey stuff with this that I am not going to go into. It is super interesting though.
I love science.
Right. I just would say a lot of things that you don't understand because I don't understand it either. Okay. So, because it talks about like the structure of it, the velocity of it, the mass of it. My point is it's big and it's next to us.
It's big and deadly.
Okay. So there's a thing called the Andromeda Galaxy is known to harbor a dense and compact star cluster at its very center. In large telescopes, it gives the impression of like a star embedded and surrounded by like this big bulge. So the Hubble telescope is taking a picture of that center point there.
Has the new telescope taken any?
The last ones I think for this were pre that one, so I don't think they have taken.
Hasn't got there yet.
This
maybe.
one, yeah. Or at least it's not the first step for pictures. So here we go. There are clusters on the ends of the Andromeda Galaxy so it's had collisions before. We know it's had collisions and it has kind of sucked in parts of previous galaxies into its galaxy on the ends. So we know it's done it before. Now let's talk about the collision with the Milky Way. Okay. The Andromeda Galaxy is approaching the Milky Way at about 110 kilometers per second, so 68 miles per second. It has been measured approaching
freeway speed,
approaching, thank you, relative to the sun around 190 miles per second. As the sun orbits around the center of the galaxy at a speed of approximately 140 miles per second. This makes Andromeda Galaxy one of about 100 observable blue shifted galaxies. So just by how fast it goes, its sideway velocity with respect to the Milky Way is relatively smaller. So basically the way that the velocity is happening between the different galaxies in about 4 billion years, the likely outcome is a collision.
Is one like spinning this way and one's like spinning this way?
Right.
Like
so the velocity is
closer.
Right.
Yeah. Is that what's going to happen?
Absolutely that. So, that collision, when the galaxies will then merge, there's a small chance that the solar system. So one of the things that I love the verbiage of is that they talk about this like slingshotting that will happen. So like basically what happens once that velocity comes in, you get flung out. So
it's like crack the whip.
We could get flung out. So even our own sun could get either brought in and like torn apart, or it could get even our whole entire galaxy could get just slingshotted out farther or split in half, and some out, some in, and some may absorb into the end of it.
You know, in roller derby we used to do the whip
and the double whip.
Double whip's even more fun. Or triple whip.
Ooh, triple whip's really fun if you can get the good momentum. It's on the knees, you gotta get low, right?
Fun.
Gotta just hold on and hope for the best.
So
yeah.
are you flinging out the other team, or are you trying to
ourselves?
Person.
Ourselves. So yeah, you use their momentum. So like if I'm whipping Tart. So I went derby names automatically there. So if I'm whipping Tart, part of what I do is I will kind of break and use my momentum and the braking motion to fling her forward.
Transfer your momentum to the other person.
Yeah.
It was really, you saw it a lot in early derby, not so much like now. Like if you saw that now, I'd be like, whoa, that's cool.
Right.
Bringing it back. Now everything's more like rugby scrums. Like everybody's like together, it's a
much faster derby now. I would say like the pace, like even the blockers are going very fast most of the time, but you just got to control pack speed. Okay.
Have you been to see a derby?
I actually don't like watching.
Oh, you just like playing.
I like hitting people. I like yelling at people. No.
It's like when you break up with
pass.
somebody, you just have to have space.
Okay.
I'm just taking space.
For
Yeah.
years.
It's
I
been
actually thought about dropping into a practice sometime.
since
from somewhere.
2019, the end of 2019.
I just want to like show up to like a snake pit practice or their new Coeur d'Alene team and just hit people.
Do it.
I haven't skated in a while, but I'll show up to just to hit people and then leave. And they'll be like, do you want to join our team? I'll be like, no.
You're like, I feel better now.
Hard no.
But it might be one of those lame practices where they're like 50%.
50% what?
Hitting.
What does that mean?
Emphasis.
No, 67% is what I go at a practice. That exact percentage. 100% at about, but they're
I'm
not
just
ready.
saying you might not to
They're
get
not
your
ready.
jollies.
They're not ready for my 67%. I'll tell you that.
It's true.
Because I will knock them down and they should learn their lessons and not get hit by me.
Here's what we need to do before you make this decision. Let's go to adult skate.
Thank you.
Let's see what former roller derby currently active people are there. See if there's drama, and then you decide. I'm a realist.
Okay.
Because you may be like, fuck this shit.
I know.
And this is why I quit.
Can I hit you at the? Well, they won't even let us do that.
Oh, I need to dance.
If you're in the parking lot with your gear and skates on, can I knock you down?
I'm not wearing fucking gear to dance.
I need
the
to
roller
see someone on the ground.
I mean, I'll follow if you want.
Let me hit you.
No.
67%.
No.
Get out of here. Get out.
I'm just trying to get you back on track.
Good. This is important. Okay. Okay.
I love that these galaxies are like derby.
I don't.
That's where it went immediately. There was a slingshot. I'm like, oh yeah.
Slingshot. Oh yeah, you were the one that took us away.
And I brought us back. I do all the services.
All of it, right.
Helpful and hurtful.
So it would cause like huge, massive amounts. So like the impact alone would be over 100 million years long.
When does this start?
4 billion years.
4 billion years. But like it, like the whole.
I said we get a couple generations in and then we're dead.
Well, I mean, I don't know how long people live.
A couple million years is more than.
Okay, no, but like we're gonna die before that, and that's what I'm gonna talk about now. So I just wanted to really throw out one. I thought the Andromeda. I like the name, and it was this cool like. Okay, that's probably gonna be the end of our galaxy.
Is it the name of like that special thing in Galaxy Quest? Was it the Andromeda something?
Oh, you're so right. I love Galaxy Quest.
Me too.
I think you're right. The Andromeda.
Something. Sarah?
Oh,
Sarah, oh my God.
Look it up. Galaxy Quest Andromeda.
What have you been doing? Being a mom this whole time?
Yeah, she did fetch us wine.
Thank you. I'm sorry I yelled at you just a second ago. Don't worry, I'll hit heart, not you. She can take it even if she doesn't want to. She
I can. It'll be fine.
It's fine. She'll just bruise for a bit.
I played Mario.
Oh, I love Mario. I'm a video
I play real
gamer.
games.
Okay.
What does that
Mario's a
even
real
mean?
game,
The
okay.
game of life.
Oh my God.
Like
Stupidest
board
thing
game.
I've ever heard.
Yes.
Should be
I
like,
like the game of life.
I like sorry. We had like
We talked about
that's-
that.
okay.
It's
All right.
horrible. Okay.
Okay, here we go. The biological and geological future of Earth can be extrapolated based on the estimated facts of different long-term things. So here we go. Very smart at that. I'm skipping. Okay, so over time, like over hundreds of millions of years, there's going to be a lot of a lot of celestial events. What I've learned is there are a lot of celestial events we know when they're going to happen, or we know the percentage or risk or odds of them happening in certain time periods, which is actually kind of scary. I want a calendar I want a calendar.
Like, this is when you'll die.
Like, oh, hey, here's your yearly calendar. Your percentage of asteroid hitting this year is 0.003%. I want to know that. I want to know that for
Here's
my
where
year.
you're gonna have a close call.
Right.
Here's
Yeah,
when we're not sure.
Because that's the thing is, like, they know this. Like, I'm reading this and I'm like, why is nobody telling me this?
I think somebody should make a calendar.
Right. Okay, maybe I'll
Give
work
us
on
credit if you make it.
that. Copyright.
Yeah.
Did you get the Andromeda thing?
Oh,
Sarah.
I did, but it showed some kind of
Oh,
retro
Sarah.
game.
No, you're.
Galaxy Quest.
It's a movie.
Isn't it Andromeda something?
It is a movie too.
No, it's a movie.
Does it
Not
say
two.
Galaxy
It's a
Quest
Galaxy-
Andromeda?
Wait.
Now put Andromeda.
Put
Oh.
Galaxy Quest movie Andromeda.
Oh, it's a game.
Yeah, I'm sure Galaxy Quest.
That's what I thought you guys were talking about, that he played with women.
No, we're
No.
talking about the most amazing fucking movie of all time, and now you have to watch it.
Okay.
Homework.
Young
Okay.
Frankenstein
My Own Private Idaho.
It
and
really bothers
Galaxy
me that
Quest.
you say Frankenstein, but I know that you're right.
Well, it's a pivotal moment in the movie.
I know.
It's integral to
Right.
his development.
Right.
You're gonna watch My Own Private Idaho?
Yeah,
Okay.
you brought that up one time. And I'm like,
Okay.
Can I continue with my topic?
Can I just warn you that the opening scene
And she has to watch Spirit.
involves
She hasn't
Oh,
seen
yeah.
Spirit.
I'm gonna have a marathon.
just don't watch My Own Private Idaho with your kids.
Oh, I did
That's all.
finish. I finished
Fairy Tale.
Fairy Tale. I finished
Wasn't it good?
So good. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. It really amped up.
All right, we're gonna
Um,
have to talk about
All
that.
right. Sorry. Okay. Different day.
Future.
Different. Yeah. Okay. Milkonovich's.
What'd you call me?
Milikovich. Yes.
Yes, that's the
Galaxy
movie.
Quest, yeah.
Okay. Actually, I think Nick watches this.
It's not. What do you mean watches?
It's
it?
a movie.
It's a movie. You watch it once.
Oh,
He watches this.
Well, I've watched it probably 7 times.
Watching it reminds me of this.
Oh,
It's
I know.
Sigourney Weaver. It's Dwight Schrute. It's R.I.P. Alan Rickman.
I'll watch it.
Okay.
I surrender.
All right. Okay. Back. Okay. The name I can't pronounce. Milan
Never-
theory predicts that the planet.
Never surrender.
The planet. Never surrender.
Never. What do you say, Sarah?
No.
You just said she was going to surrender.
Don't surrender.
Never confess, never surrender. Jesus Christ.
I just.
Sarah's just going to drink wine downstairs.
Ting, ting.
Sarah, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
You have
Thank
really
you.
nice eyebrows.
Dude, she's the prettiest woman I've ever did see.
No, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
You guys just like knock me down and build me back up again.
That's our style.
That's my
That's
best.
what we do. That's why we're friends.
I'm here for it.
We were like, see you next week.
But you're great.
You're great. You're the best, Steven.
I'm here for it.
All right. If you can't be torn down by your best friend, who can you be torn down by?
True.
Okay.
Back to devastation and death.
I'm so lost.
Yeah, like,
Okay. It starts with a long name I can't pronounce. Milankovich's theory predicts that the planet will continue to undergo glacial periods, at least until the Quaternary glaciation comes to an end. So
I'm hoping to have a glacial period soon.
So basically what this would cause is some supercontinental cycle with plate tectonics that will probably result in a supercontinent in 250 to 350 million years. So
Part 2.
Right. So sometime in the next 1.4 to 4.5 billion years, but keep in mind, 4.5 billion years, we may be colliding, we may be colliding. Earth's axial tilt may begin to undergo chaotic variations, with the axial tilt going up to 90 degrees. So like our entire world would like shift completely if we didn't.
It seems very
with
sexual.
Andromeda. Okay, and with that, the luminosity of the sun will get bigger and bigger and more and more. More radiation will reach the earth, resulting in higher rate of weathering of silicate minerals, affecting carbonate silicate cycles, which is the decrease of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So in about 600 million years from now, the level of carbon dioxide will fall below the level needed to sustain carbon fixation photosynthesis used by trees.
Shit.
That's the we're fucked point.
We gotta keep our trees.
So some plants use carbon fixation method to keep that, they need it as low as 10 parts per million. So the long-term trend is for plant life will eventually die off altogether. The extinction of plants will be the demise of almost every animal life, since plants are the base food chain for everything on Earth.
And don't we live in symbiosis with trees?
Exactly. In about 1 billion years, the solar luminosity will be 10% higher, causing the atmosphere to become a moist greenhouse.
Moist.
Moist, everyone's favorite word, resulting in a runaway evaporation of the oceans. As a likely consequence, plate tectonics and the entire carbon cycle will end. Following this event, 2 to 3 billion years, so we haven't yet, the planet's magnetic dynamo may cease, causing the magnetosphere to decay and leading to accelerated loss of our outer atmosphere. So 4 billion years from now, this may mean pre or right at then what's basically
so
our
this
entire
is consummation, basically.
right, with the Andromeda galaxy, our Milky Way will with Andromeda. So
we want that. We don't want this.
I mean, I'm at the thing of like, so here, let me just say this part. If we don't, with Andromeda, what's going to happen is the entire Earth's surface is going to melt. I'd rather just, like you were saying before, I'm Andromeda now versus I'm melting.
Can we just be Team Andromeda and like just jump over?
Right.
Fuck Milky Way. Because if it's a, you know,
it's gonna happen,
if it's a drowning ship,
let's bail.
Yeah.
That's like working to every mental health agency I've ever worked at. This place is going under. Let's get out of here. That may have been saying too much. By that point, all life on Earth will be extinct, by the way.
Wait, even me?
Back to
you will live forever.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because I really have a strong investment in knowing who my future offspring are like 500 years from now.
None.
Like what are they going to be like? What are they going to be into?
I mean, at that point, I'm going to...
Most importantly, will my photo be on their mantle?
That's so kind
Will
of
there
you.
be mantles?
I'm assuming they won't remember me at all at that point, and they may as well die.
I'm not okay with that.
So
I need a place in history.
I mean, our whole topic about Elon Musk has disappointed me so much because he's supposed to save us from this shit, even though Mars is still in our galaxy and there's still a point. But you know, nice try. Like, let's be thinking that direction. Like, let's be thinking about the future, people, and stop ignoring the fact that this will end. It will end. And if you're ignoring that, it's just going to end sooner. So
I don't like ignoring things.
I don't know, recycle something, do something, people. Okay, so
did you see that Russian kid that said he's from Mars?
Be here all night. What?
And he's here to save us from nuclear annihilation.
No. Why isn't that your topic? This was a great topic.
Because there wasn't enough info.
I hate that when I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. I'm like,
yeah, I was like, oh, topic. And I'm like,
Right. Yeah. That's where Andromeda started. And then I was like, I mean, like, that's interesting, but it's kind of final. So there's no really good place to go from that. So I have to back it up to humans. So humans play a key role in our biosphere. Shocker. With large human populations dominating our ecosystem, we have a big role. So we
just hit 1 billion people. Or how many billions?
No,
8 billion?
Than that. I was gonna say we've been over 1 billion.
Like, it just hit like a milestone.
So the large
kids were born.
Right.
So I guess COVID,
because after COVID, they all
wasn't that devastating.
COVID boomers.
Right. Everyone
COVID boomers
jacked up and during COVID.
Made it a thing.
Okay.
Skylar is a windstorm baby.
Study that there was more pregnancies after COVID.
Skylar's a windstorm baby.
Oh, that makes sense. You got locked in. scared,
under the
scared
covers,
for your life.
drinking.
Keep me warm. Okay. The large scale. Okay, you're really throwing me off.
Right. 837 billion.
But
as of 2021.
So we hit 8 billion then. That was the milestone.
8 billion. Okay.
That's a lot of fucking people.
Live.
As we discussed, we don't know what a billion is. So
and I
have 8 of them people.
I would like to say, can I just
it's a current counter of
ooh, that's ew, I don't like
bored.
no.
Ew. And so I'm like, ooh. Shooting it out every time that changes. That's gross.
Is a clicker counter.
Oh, what?
Why are babies like that?
It's horrifying, Sarah. What is the name of that website? They can't see it. What's the name of the website? Current world population. If you want to see them
I am not
pumped out in real time.
Okay.
Add it to your home screen.
Back on track.
Is that what we are?
I don't know.
Breakdown by country too.
Okay. You're fine. This is why you're here, to entertain us. The large scale loss
You're our hype girl.
Species caused by human influence since the 1950s has been called a biotic crisis, with an estimated 10% of total species lost as of 2007. At a current rate, about 30% of species are at risk of extinction in the next 100 years.
I hate this.
The Holocene extinction event is the result of habitat destruction, widespread distribution of invasive species, poaching, and climate change.
8 billion people might be contributing to this problem.
In the present day, human activity has had a significant impact on the surface of the planet. More than a third of the whole land surface on the world has been modified by human actions. And humans use about 20% of global primary production. The concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has increased by close to 50% since the start of the Industrial Revolution. The consequences of this biotic crisis has been predicted to last for at least 5 million years. So all of this that we're causing and have impacted will continue to impact the Earth for 5 million years. Thanks. It could result in a decline in biodiversity, in lack of diversity among our biology, accompanied by a proliferation of species that are opportunistic, such as pests and weeds. Novel species may emerge, so new ones coming up. In particular, the prosper and human-dominated ecosystems may rapidly diversify into new species. So things that we promote may continue to grow. No new species of existing large vertebrates are likely to arise. So like the whole bigger species things, probably not going to happen because of how we have impacted food chains.
Damn it.
Right. So like lions and like that's
fucked up.
Right.
Because those are the most majestic creatures.
Nobody fucks the lion.
Rhinoceros.
Those are my favorites. Polar bears. Okay.
Macy did a whole polar bear topic.
I did.
Sorry, you should actually listen to our podcast sometime.
It's quite good. We enjoy it.
And even if it's not good, we cover a diverse topic list.
I mean, even if it's just Sarah being entertained and learning with us here, like that's fine with me.
I know.
I enjoy this. Okay, so here we go. More again. Risks that human pose to themselves include climate change. We do it to ourselves. Misuse of nanotechnology. We do it to ourselves. Nuclear holocaust. We do it to ourselves. War program superintelligence. And we've had a podcast episode about that. Genetically engineered diseases or disaster caused by physics experiments. Those are like listed as the primary, like we're gonna like just ruin it.
Well, I did that Doomsday Clock episode that kind of went into some of that too. Mm-hmm. And that Doomsday Clock says we're fucked.
Diseases,
because you're asking
viruses, extraterrestrial life forms, the possibility of infestation of that at some point, like could happen.
Well, Skylar would be very angry about that because he's an avid believer that the U.S. government is trying to put out propaganda that ETs are threats when they're actually helpers. and that the propaganda is meant so that
sounds
we'll
negative.
be behind the government when the government tries to.
Right. So, and that is technically in the wording on this is infestation, maybe versus a greeting by extraterrestrial life forms.
By peaceful life forms that are here to fucking save our asses because we're fucking stupid.
Right, because there's gonna be a point, and they may say, "Hey,"
and they can help us. Obviously, if they can get here, they're way more advanced than we are. Where we can't barely, we're like struggling right now. We're trying to do another moon visit. Have you seen that?
Right.
And that's like, we can't even figure that out.
So,
and that's like basically like going across the street.
Should the human species become extinct, various features assembled by humanity will begin to decay. The largest structures have an estimated. The largest structures in the world that we have humanly made will decay, have a half-life of about 1,000 years. So the last surviving structures would most likely be open pit mines, large landfills, major highways, wide canal cuts, earth-filled dams, a few massive stone monuments like the pyramids of Giza, sculptures, Mount Rushmore will survive in some form even after 1 million years.
It's kind of fun. Mount Rushmore.
So this is a whole different article that I'm looking at from when I was reading about Andromeda, and it says potential events to happen. One of the first one is the sun orbits the Milky Way, and it talks about the potential point. So it's on there. The solar flares and the radiation is like a huge risk. An encounter. Okay, so with the Milky Way, it can approach enough to influence the solar system. A close stellar encounter, like with the other Andromeda we talked about, may cause a significant reduction in distances of comets in the Oort cloud too. So the Oort cloud has a ton of icy bodies that kind of orbit around it, and around half a light year of the sun. Such an encounter can trigger a 40-fold increase in the number of comets reaching the inner solar system. So impact from these comets can trigger a mass extinction of life on Earth. These disruption encounters occur an average of once every 45 million years. So again, they know the math, which freaks me out. The mean time for the sun to collide with another star in the solar neighborhood is approximately 30 trillion years, which is longer than the estimated age of the universe. So like, they're like, okay, not probably going to happen in our lifetime. So that's great.
But I worry about my future ancestors.
Right. It's just like, it's an inevitability, and we're so
I guess we're not ancestors. What do you call them when they're in the future?
Futesters?
My futesters.
Your futesters.
I worry about them.
Your futesters. Your futesters. Yes. I mean, it's basically saying that like
at some point,
and maybe an end is the new beginning.
We go bye-bye.
Maybe the end is the new beginning that we have to think about. Like it's an end of this galaxy, but it's a creation of a new, bigger galaxy. So like, yes, and also.
And, if you believe in the possibility of the multiverse,
if you believe in magic,
like we all exist somewhere else.
So maybe like string theory stuff too.
It's like different dimensions.
Yeah,
and we're just here experiencing.
I mean, and maybe that just makes us feel better. I don't know either. So
well, I mean,
there's much smarter minds.
Really smart theoretical physicists absolutely believe in.
And we've definitely talked with a very smart man who
theoretical physicist.
He talked about going back in time.
Wait, when was this one?
Oh, we
actually got to interview a real theoretical physicist named Fabio,
who published a research article.
Who published an important, well-known research article on time travel. And we were freaking out the entire time.
He did not know what we were when he agreed to meet with us.
We had 20 minutes before. No, 20 minutes before we started, where we were in the panic attack.
Because initially you could tell he was being, he was trying to be.
No, because I'm like, I need to like just be like on my A game.
And he very sciencey at first, and we're like cracking little jokes like we do, and then finally he kind of got the gist of it.
Yeah,
and he started laughing and joking with us,
and we started talking about like time travel movies, and
yeah, he enjoyed it.
Fucking brilliant and hot, and
he had a ponytail,
and he was in, yeah.
And we thought his background was real. That's how like
how high tech it was.
So
it was a background that was made to look like natural nature outside.
Yeah, and we just so wanted to believe in him that we believed.
No, I was in like I was in a dreamscape. I couldn't even. I was not in my right mind during the entire period.
Posted with the video.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The whole thing.
Episode.
It was a while back. I don't know.
It says like interview with blah blah blah, like his Fabio.
Theoretical physicist. Yeah.
Look it up.
Like I reached out to him and he like actually emailed me back. I was like,
seldom happens, by the way. I mean, sometimes we're curious and we're like, let's give it a shot. and that one bit, and it was great. It was wonderful. Like cool. I learned about real time travel.
No, I am a theoretical physicist now. I have a certificate.
I'm certified counselor lingo for I went to a training once for 3 hours, maybe about time travel.
Yes.
It
was fucking phenomenal. I was walking on air for like probably 3 months after that.
Okay. Sorry. I gotta wrap this up. Okay.
Josie Doe.
Okay. Here we go. Ready? Okay. Sorry. I thought I knew where it was and I wasn't.
You asked if we're ready. You're not fucking ready.
Okay. Do you know how long the age of our universe is? 13.8 billion years. Just so you know. I feel like we should say that.
We've been talking in billions a lot lately.
Billions. I know. We'll do a representation later.
I'm going to make something out of rice.
To that. It might need to be smaller than rice. Maybe sand. Can you count sand? Sounds horrible, doesn't it?
Okay. I grew up near the beach. I just have a lot of sand.
The energy released from the impact of an asteroid or comet with a diameter of like 3 to 6 miles or larger is sufficient to create a global environmental disaster alone, like that alone. If we were to have a solar flare, so there was a solar flare in the 18 somethings before technology. And they said that if that were to happen nowadays, it would actually just disconnect all internet for months, at least minimum, for it to get fixed, for the solar flare to end. So like there are things that I think would be more crippling to us now because we rely so heavily on technology, that would just like roll our economies backwards from where we have gone growth wise.
But it might be a good thing for humanity.
Maybe
to have that disconnect.
It might neutralize.
Like if I wanted to talk to you, I might need to like go to your house.
I mean, I come to your house to talk to you. Okay, supernovas. So those occur on average once every 40 years. You know that?
No.
During the history of Earth, multiple events have occurred within a distance of 100 light years, known as a near-Earth supernova. Explosions inside this distance can contaminate the planet with radioisotopes and possibly impact the biosphere. Gamma rays emitted by supernova react with nitrogen in the atmosphere, producing nitrous oxides. These molecules cause a depletion of the ozone layer that protect the surface from UV. An increase in UVB radiation, 10 to 30%, is sufficient to cause a significant impact on life on Earth, including the phytoplankton, the base oceanic food chain, which would then impact everything else in our biosphere.
Plankton.
So
on SpongeBob SquarePants.
They were white when I bought them. Underwear Patrick jokes. All right. So, okay. I'm just gonna like, there's a whole thing about, I mean,
things.
Continental drift, oceans, solar evolution, loss of our oceans, red giant stages of our sun.
Reefs. Very important.
So
Marianas Trench.
I just want to end with the ultimate fate.
Fuck.
I know you thought it was dark now. We've been really doing a lot of humor-based things to cope with the anxiety of existential fear here.
That's what I do.
I know. Some acceptance here is that after fusing helium at its core to carbon, the sun will begin to collapse. evolving into a compact white dwarf star after ejecting its outer atmosphere as a planetary nebula. The predicted final mass is
Like a big
54%.
fart.
54%. So only 54% will be left after that big fart, mostly consisting of carbon and oxygen. So currently the moon is moving away from the Earth at a rate of 1.6 inches per year. In 50 billion years, if the Earth and the moon are not engulfed by the sun, they will become tide locked in a larger stable orbit, with each showing only one face to the other. Therefore, the tidal action of the sun will extract angular momentum from the system, causing the orbit of the moon to decay and the Earth's rotation to accelerate. So we'll start accelerating faster and faster. In about 65 billion years, it is estimated that the moon may end up colliding with the Earth due to the remaining energy of the Earth-moon system being sapped by the remnant of the sun.
I had a dream that a portion of the moon was shattered and crashed onto the Earth.
Fucking terrifying. So after my research into this, that's scary to me. So on a scale of about 10 quintillion years, there you go. Have fun with that number.
Is that 5?
I watch your brain just trip.
So we have trillion. It's quintillion 4 or 5?
10 quintillion.
But it's 4 or 5.
Is it? It sounds like 5.
5? Okay.
Okay. So the remaining planets in the solar system will be ejected. Remember when I said like the slingshot will be ejected from the solar system by violent relaxation. If Earth is not I like the verbiage here, violent relaxation.
Wait, what?
Because like it's the pulling in
childbirth
and then the release out.
Violent
oh my gosh, it's the breath out that we would be released out. Mm-hmm. The ultimate fate of the planet will be that it collides with the black dwarf sun due to the decay of its orbital gravitational radiation. Period. Done.
Which will happen
in 100 trillion years. So there's different layers here.
Okay.
Many things can happen before this happens. The sun could explode. The sun, we could have our with the
we could sex up our neighboring galaxy.
Andromeda. We could sex it up, become one, and get slingshotted out, or become part of, or have our own sun become part of and ripped apart, or slingshotted out as well. Or this continues to happen into a decay of things where the moon may hit us. I mean, I feel like Andromeda is a great option. I mean, why not make something better?
Here's what we need to do.
Bigger, better.
We need to invest
the solution.
Money in our space programs.
Yeah.
Like real money.
If you're not,
and not defund our space programs.
Wait,
and
pause,
really
pause.
Be able to travel.
Until next time.
Invest money in our space programs. That's the thing. So let's advocate for that. Write your Congress
legislation.
Yeah, let's advocate. Let's make that happen, because that's what's needed. We need, like, our technology is fucking stunted.
And the thing is like, we do have really good technology, but like the more I read about this, it was like,
well, it's not compared to ETs.
It's like we think it like, oh, an asteroid, we can stop an asteroid. It's like, okay, no, it's like you have to deal with this gravitational pull, and then that's going to cause this, and then that's going to create a black hole that's going to suck in this. Like, how do we stop all of that?
We're struggling to get to the fucking moon, which isn't even a planet.
So maybe we need to go back to Sarah's point. Hi, Sarah.
What was your point, Sarah?
There's different dimensions.
Well, there's different dimensions. That was your out later. You panicked.
I know, but my consciousness is in this dimension.
At first, she said acceptance.
Oh, I know. I'm not done with that one.
That's gonna cause you more stress in the long run.
Right. Like just acceptance. But we can.
I want to support our space program.
We can, do something. I think
governmental or commercial. I don't care. I'm not like getting political on it. We just need to advance our technology.
This speaks to the council side, right? Because like giving people who've had a grief or a loss, which knowing your impending doom is a grief and loss. So giving them an action point can help them feel like they have
give it to fucking action. That's my rally.
Even if it just makes them feel better, sure, why not? Until next time.
I don't know what that is, but
until next time.
happening.
It's probably going to happen anyway. So I don't know. Can we give like our future generations a few more years, recycle something, don't be a dick. I don't know. Yeah, maybe this coming week, say like a few seconds to some like cultural like oppression that was had, and like just address the fact that
acknowledge some shit.
Acknowledge some shit. Like, let's just say the thing and try to find ways to help when you can. It's not that hard. Little ways help. You know, every starfish you can throw back in the ocean, it matters to that one starfish, even if you can't save them all.
And eat some corn.
Bye.